Today, class, you're going to start planning for your compare and contrast essay. And so to do that, we're just going to make a couple of different organizers to help us get our thoughts organized and just to be thinking about our topic about comparing and contrasting. Remember, we are going to write an essay about schooling at home and schooling at our regular school building, CESW. So in order to do that, we're going to think of a couple different ways to organize our ideas. So if you remember yesterday, we read Grace's compare and contrast essay about her house and her friend Misty's house. And remember, she gave an introduction, and then she gave a paragraph about the way that they were compared, things that were alike about their two houses, and then she did a paragraph to contrast the two houses. She explained and described all the differences between their two houses, and then she gave her conclusion about how she felt about that. So that's pretty much the format that you're going to be using. This is going to be an example that you can use to refer back to for the different types of paragraphs, okay? So let's think about how Grace might have organized her ideas in order to compare these two houses. So I want you to turn in your workbook pages in your English book to page 293. So if you noticed in your reading book yesterday on at the end of The Beast of the Desert, there was a chart about comparing and contrasting riding a horse and riding a camel. We call this a T chart because it kind of looks like a T. You're taking two things and you're drawing a line down the middle and you're describing those things so that you can compare and contrast easily. So this is the kind of place where whatever idea comes into your mind, you can just jot it down really quickly. You don't need complete sentences or anything like that. You just want your brain to be thinking of a lot of different ideas. So here is the organizer that Grace used for her essay on the two different houses. So she has her house on one side and Misty's house on the other. Okay, so on your T-chart, I'd like you to have CESW, meaning the building that we would go to for our class on one side, and then I want your virtual schooling or your mobile learning on this side. So that you are comparing and contrasting those two ways that you're familiar with doing school. And then you can see that Grace wrote all the details that she wanted to include in her essay. So she talked about it being painted white, it has an upstairs, a basement, pictures and plants, 3 bedrooms, a big backyard, a swing set, front yard has flowers. So you can see she didn't use any complete sentences. It was just kind of like whatever ideas were coming off the top of her head, she was going to write down. Now in your T-chart, it's great to have lots of ideas, maybe even more than you need, because you always have something to choose from and you won't have that feeling of, I don't know what to write, because you'll have so many ideas here. So let your brain flow and let your ideas flow. Even if you don't think you're going to use all of them, it might spur another great thought. So go ahead and write as many as you can when it's your turn, okay? All right, so here is her description of her friend Misty's house. She said it was painted blue. The front yard has green shrubs and rocks. It has an upstairs, basement, 3 bedrooms, checkered wallpaper, big backyard, and a swing set. Okay, so then what Grace was able to do, and this is what I want you to do on your workbook right now, is let's go ahead and circle all the things that they have in common. So the details that were here, let's see if we can find them over here as well. And even if you didn't write the same exact words, but it has the same idea, let's go ahead and circle those when you do yours on your T-chart. So let's take a look at Grace's. All right, so what do you notice? See if you can find some things that are identical in both sides of the chart. Give you a minute to look at yours. This is page 293. I think I told you that. Page 293 in your workbook. Okay, so I'm noticing that upstairs is on both sides of the chart. So I'm going to go ahead and circle those. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a line to show that they both have those. Okay, so what else would you have? Oh, they both have basements, so I'm going to circle basements. Okay, and I'll draw a line between those two. Those two match. Okay, what else can you find? Okay, did you find 3 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms? So draw circles around those. Okay, what about big backyard? They both have big backyards. And they both have swing sets, don't they? So we can draw a circle around those and draw lines to show that those things match. Okay, so now that you have this, or that Grace had that, now she could put those ideas into a Venn diagram. And so you'll be able to do that today with your ideas. So you can see that all these things that we circled, upstairs, basement, 3 bedrooms, backyard, and swing set, she wrote down here in what both houses had in the Venn diagram. So remember, when you have a Venn diagram, what meets in the middle is what they both have in common. Okay, it's the similarities, the comparisons. And then so for her house, the things that were left that weren't circled were painted white, pictures and plants, front yard has flowers, and that's what she wrote on this side for her house. And then what was left on the list for Misty's house, she wrote here under Misty's house. Okay, so that's kind of a pattern of what I want you to do with your ideas for your compare and contrast between school at CESW and school with mobile learning. Okay, so I want you to turn the page to 294 and 295. Okay, so our workbook has given us lots of different ideas, but I really am curious to see what you find are your compare and contrast ideas for our schools. So we're going to go ahead and everybody's going to do the same thing, but once you get this pattern down, you can compare and contrast anything, right? So we're just going to get this pattern down. So go ahead and list as many details as you can, okay? If you run out of room, you can write them down here. You can attach a piece of paper, but write down as many ideas as you can think of, all right? So you might write CESW on one side, and you could write mobile learning on the other. You could write Christian elementary school building, homeschool, whatever you wish to title those two things. And then think of as many ideas as you possibly can. So I had jotted down a few ideas that I thought of. Certainly you could think of more. This was just real quick, just to give you an example. So I made a T-chart. Okay, I wrote school at CSW on one side and school at home on the other. And then so I just started thinking of ideas, okay? So I was thinking at school, it's I have desks, but at home I can sit at my dining room table, or I can sit on the sofa. I can pretty much sit anywhere. I could even go outside if I wanted to. We have a lot of friends at our school building, but at home we're mostly surrounded by family. I know that we do our workbooks at school in our classroom, but we also do workbooks at home. So this would be one of those things that I would circle and draw a line to. Okay, so we're going to look for our comparisons and our contrasts. Okay, so make as long of a list as you can think of, and then do like what we did on page 293, circle and draw a line to it. Okay, so after you do your T-chart, then just like Grace did on page 295, you're going to make your Venn diagram. So you would write CESW at home, whatever title you're giving it, and then those things that you circled on the T-chart, you're going to put right in the center, and then the things that are remaining, you'll put here. This is going to help you organize your thoughts. It's going to be really easy to say, okay, I'm going to write my comparing paragraph. These are the ideas I need to put into sentences. And then when it comes to writing your contrast paragraph, these will be the ideas that you'll put into sentences into your paragraph. So it's just a way of getting our ideas very organized so that the writing, we can concentrate on making our sentences sound really good. We'll already have the ideas in place. Okay, so you're going to finish page 294. and page 295, and please send me a photo. Okay, thank you.